on to poem number 4, The Voice of the Rain by Walt Whitman. Have we ever noticed when it's raining, have we ever actually sat and observed, actually sat and listened, not heard? You actually, see when you feel, when you hear, the sound of the rain, how beautiful it is. Have we ever tried and observed? Do it. It's really wonderful. I'll tell you what it is. The Voice of the Rain. It's a beautiful poem. Walt Whitman was an American poet, essayist, and journalist. Some of his works include Leaves of Grass, Song of Myself, O Captain, My Captain. He was a part of the transition between transcendentalism and realism. That's a philosophical movement, so it was both, incorporating both views in his works. He is among the most influential poets in the American canon, often called the father of free verse. You remember free verse, right? We've discussed it before. Free verse is when your poem is not having the rhyming words at the end. Yeah, when they don't have a rhyme scheme, that poem is called a free verse. So let's move further. And who art thou, said I to the soft falling shower, which, strange to tell, gave me an answer as here translated. I am the poem of earth, said the voice of the rain. Eternal I rise, impalpable out of the land and the bottomless sea. Upward to heaven, whence vaguely formed, altogether changed, and yet the same. I descend to lave the droughts, atomies, dust layers of the globe, and all that in them without me was seeds only, latent, unborn. And forever, by day and night, I give back life to my own origin and make pure and beautify it. For song issuing from its birthplace, after fulfillment wandering, wrecked or unwrecked, duly with love returns. Now, we read the entire poem, but do you see these lines are in brackets? Why? Because these are the thoughts of the poet, right? That's the reason he's expressing his thoughts. That's the reason they are in brackets. So let's move on first to the theme. The poem, The Voice of the Rain by Walt Whitman, signifies the eternal role that the rain plays in nurturing, quenching, and purifying the various elements of earth. The rain returns the favor to its place of origin, from where it rises unseen from the depths of the water and from the land. The rain itself is explaining to the reader about its origin, work, and its cyclic movement. A comparison has also been drawn between rain and music, as both of them make the world more lively and return to their place of origin after fulfilling their purpose. Trust me, it's really beautiful. I mean, it's really interesting as you understand, as you actually pay attention to, every word that is being said here. Now, this poem has these figures of speech, literary devices, poetic devices, like I've mentioned before, they all mean the same. So, if you want to look now in this poem, all these are involved, these figures of speech. Now, when further we will be doing the poem, we have mentioned, which line is which poetic device has been used. So, if you want the definition for the same, please come back to this slide and you will understand. You don't need to, keep checking your phones and get onto the Google. It's all here right in front of you. So basically, it's the entire package. You don't need to move. You even have the meanings attached. Yeah. So it is extremely, simplified for you. Yeah. So let's move further. And so we are going to now explain, we are going to first read, we are going to have the meanings to it, and then we have the explanation of the same. So when you are given extracts, yeah, you can simply write them without any problems, because once you know every line that is being said has something to say, right? There is an explanation to it. So once you have understood the entire explanation, you will never have any kind of issues in answering your questions as well as your extracts. So let's move on. Now, these are lines 1 to 5. And who art thou, said I to the soft falling shower, which, strange to tell, gave me an answer, as here translated. I am the poem of earth, said the voice of the rain. Art and thou, art means who are you, thou means you. That's the poetic language. Eternal I rise impalpable. Eternal as in everlasting, and impalpable is intangible and it cannot be felt, right? Out of the land and the bottomless sea, upward to heaven, whence vaguely formed, whence as in from where, I am actually unclearly formed. You will know in the explanation further. Altogether changed and yet the same. So now that you have understood the meanings of the words which could have probably been a problem to you, now that those are clear, let's move to the explanation. The poem begins with the poet asking for the identity of the soft falling rain shower. As the rain falls, the poet is asking, who are you? Much to the surprise of the poet, the rain replies to his question, which the poet translates for his readers. The rain, in its own voice, tells the poet that she is the poem of this earth. The rain is trying to say that as music or poetry gives pleasure to human beings, the rain gives happiness to Mother Earth. So you see where they are talking of a comparison between rain and music or poetry. Here it is. The poet says that the rain is an eternal process. It is an everlasting process. But it takes different forms at different times. So I guess we know by now, obviously, that how actually, the cycle, that movement is there. Even in science, we have learned how is actually rain formed. So that is why it is an everlasting process. It goes on and on and on. It rises from the land and the deep sea in the form of intangible water, vapor, and goes up to the sky. It goes in the form of water vapor. There it takes an indistinct shape in the form of clouds. How is that? Due to condensation, it turns into clouds. Although it changes in its form or shape, its core matter remains the same. Since vapor and clouds contain water, they can get transformed into the other. The words impalpable and eternal indicate that nature is not fully understood and some part of it always remains beyond our reach. Yes, it does. Do we understand, how the vapor goes up and then how it condenses to form clouds and then again it comes down in the form of rain. So this cycle is something which goes on and like the poet says, there is some part of it which is really not understood. Somewhere nature, somewhere God plays his role so well and he does not want to be discovered about it. We just have to accept it. It just has to go on, it is what it is. We need not actually have to interfere with what nature really does. So, let's come to the poetic devices in lines 1 to 5. Now, imagery. Imagery is when, you have your senses enrolled. So, when I say, and who art thou, said I to the soft falling shower. Soft falling, you can actually sense it. You can imagine it, right? So, imagery. Alliteration, the consonant, the repetition of the consonant sound, T, T, yeah? So, tell, translated, that is why it is alliteration. Metaphor, I am the poem of earth, said the voice of the rain. Now here there is a comparison, yeah, the rain and the poem. Okay, so the poem has been compared, but now you see in metaphor we don't use words like or as in simile. So we already know that simile and metaphor are pretty similar. There is a comparison. In simile, we have like and as, we use those words. It's actually there mentioned in the line. Whereas in metaphor, they are not mentioned, but yet the comparison takes place. So I'm sure the difference is clear to you. So in this line, because of poem of the earth being compared to the rain, there is a comparison. It's metaphor. Personification. I am the poem of earth, said the voice of the rain. Now here the rain speaks, right? So and like a non-living thing, okay, is given the quality of a human. That's personification. Yeah. So basically the rain has been personified. Hyperbole. Eternal I rise impalpable out of the land and the bottomless sea. Now here it is being exaggerated. The word bottomless has been used. So sea is not bottomless. So there's a mark of exaggeration, and that's why it is hyperbole. Paradox. Upward to heaven whence, vaguely formed, altogether changed and yet the same. Now here you have contradictory statements. They are giving opposite meanings, but yet when you go to find, they deliver, they give you actually the truth. If you really analyze the statements, they come up giving you the fact. So these are the figures of speech involved in lines 1 to 5. Let's move further, 6 to 9. I descend to lave the droughts, atomies, and the dust layers of the globe. I descend as in I come down, I fall, I drop. To lave as in to wash, the droughts, the period of low rainfall, atomies, very tiny particles, dust layers of the globe. And all that in them without me were seeds only, latent, unborn. Latent as in underdeveloped. The seeds were there undeveloped. And forever, by day and night, I give back life to my own origin, to my own source, to my own beginning, and make pure and beautify it. Yeah, so we got the meanings of the words. Now let's move to the explanation. The raindrops pour down from above to wash away the droughts and the dust layers enveloping the earth. Now we know the droughts are places where there's very low rainfall. So he says, I pour down to wash that away. As in, so when I come, it's great. And the dust layers which are there surrounding the earth, yes, I move away all of it. It satisfies the thirst of the dry earth and heals everything that is degrading and is lying lifeless. What he's trying to say is it satisfies the thirst of the dry earth. The earth is dry, it needs water, it is thirsty. So I come to quench the thirst and heals everything that is degrading and is lying lifeless. Anything that is lying lifeless, so when the rain falls, it gets back to life, just like the seeds. The showers remove the dust particles and make earth clean and green. Undoubtedly, we have always noticed, like being in Gujarat, being in Surat, you will see many people heading towards Saputara, that side, the hill station sides. Why? Because there's a lot of greenery during the rainy season. And people actually go to watch there. If you're in Maharashtra, people rush to Lonavala because you see the roads, they are surrounded with greenery. So that is how it is. It becomes clean and green. The rain also helps in the germination of seeds which were lying dormant due to a dry spell. The seeds which were dormant, which had not flourished, they were just lying there lifeless, they also start germinating. The rain is involved in a continuous process of giving life on earth by providing water to dormant seeds and making the earth more beautiful and full of greenery. Now, this is a continuous process. Every time it rains, during the rainy season, you will find that all these things, it performs basically all these tasks. So if you're asked in a 3 marks question, how is it really helpful? How is the rain helpful to the earth? You have to mention all of this. Yeah. Rain helps in enhancing the beauty of earth, as in the absence of water, everything turns dull or lifeless and dust accumulates everywhere. So when there is no rain, everywhere there is dust around. But the moment the rain falls, all that dust is washed away and everything becomes so full of life. So you can mention all these things when you are asked in a 3-mark question. Now, if you talk of alliteration, talking of the poetic devices of the lines 6 to 9, alliteration, again, it is d, the sound of the consonant. It's the repeated sound, yeah. So 2 or more than 2, there we use alliteration. So you have D, D and D. That's d, the sound. Personification, again, a non-living thing given the quality of a human. I descend, I come down. So here the rain has been given the human quality. I descend means I come down. Alliteration, again, it is that, them, the, th basically. So that, them. Again, there is a repetition of the consonant sound. Again, another alliteration, without, were. Then you have oxymoron, the opposite words, opposites rather, day and night, hot and cold. That's your oxymoron. And forever, by day and night, I give back life to my own origin. So where you have opposites involved, yeah, it's not a contradictory statement, yeah, unlike paradox. That's different. Don't get confused. These are actually opposites, hot and cold, day and night, black and white. So where you have opposites, that is an oxymoron. So that's day and night. Yeah, I hope it's absolutely clear. Now, coming to the last 2 lines, for song issuing from its birthplace, issuing as in coming out from the birthplace, after fulfillment, after actually achievement of the goal, it did what it was supposed to. Wandering, wrecked or unwrecked, whether cared for or not cared for, duly with love returns, aptly or properly with love returns. Now these are the thoughts. This is the thought process of the poet. He's actually expressed it specifically. So let's see, what does he mean by it? The last 2 lines are the poet's own words and his reflections upon the answers given by the rain. The poet observes that the life of rain is similar to that of a song. Now here is the comparison between the rain and the song, or the rain and the music, or the rain and the poem, either of it. So the poet observes that the life of the rain is similar to the life of a song. And how is that? A song or a poem is creativity at its best. It has the power to calm, to heal, to rejuvenate, transform and thrill. When you are bored, you listen to music. When you are angry, you listen to some soothing music and you just cool down, you calm down your anger. So basically, in any emotion, music plays its role. When you want to meditate, you listen to music. You have prayers in the form of music. So there is music for weddings. There is music for, God forbid, when there is death in the family, you play accordingly. There is music for everything. To express your sadness, you listen to sad songs. So it has everything. It has the power to calm, to heal, to rejuvenate, transform and thrill for all occasions. In the same way, repeated evaporation and condensation purifies the rain. Now obviously, the water vapor, it's there in the form of evaporation, right? Then it condenses to form clouds, and then again it brings down the pure rain. It literally rejuvenates it, so it purifies it. The entire environment gets drenched in the rain. It gets wet, it gets soaked in the rain. Dust particles settle down and there is greenery everywhere, which makes the whole earth beautiful to look at. Like I said, when you visit anywhere, in fact, why only Lonavala and Saputara? If you look everywhere around during the rainy season, even from your balconies, if you really get the time, do observe it, you will find greenery everywhere. The poet, therefore, draws a parallel between rain and music, as both have rhythm. Have you ever heard pitter-patter raindrops? Yes, when it starts raining, you can actually hear there is a rhythm. There is sound in that. They have rhythm and the ability to thrill. Both of them rejuvenate and beautify life. It's so very true. Both of them have the ability to actually rejuvenate you. You start living once again and beautify life, right? So that's so beautifully said. Okay, so here we have alliteration, for, that's for, from, fulfillment. So it's an alliteration used. Oxymoron, again, like we had said, opposites. Rect or unrect, they are opposites, whether you care or whether you don't care. Personification, again, rect or unrect, duly with love returns. It returns, it comes back. Now that is the quality of a human being. Again, it has been given to the rain. So that comes, that brings us to the end of this wonderful poem, and I hope everything is very clear with you. The meanings of the words, the figures of speech, that's your poetic devices or literary devices, also known as, and the entire explanation, which shall help you to frame your answers according to the marks allotted. Yes? So, with ending on a very beautiful note, let the rain kiss you. Let the rain beat upon your head with silver liquid drops. Now, so beautifully said, with silver liquid drops, rain. Let the rain sing you a lullaby. A lullaby is, when small children sleep, the mother sings a lullaby, they call it a lori, yeah. So you sing and the baby goes to sleep. So let the rain sing you a lullaby. Langston Hughes, oh my God, it's so beautifully explained. It's so nice. Sometimes, we don't have the time to sit and really observe things. I mean, so much deep comparison, rain, music, the sound, the rejuvenation, the beautifying of life. We've never really sat and thought of it, we never pondered upon it. We just take words and things for granted and we just keep moving on in this wild rat race. So stop, think, ponder, and you shall realize life is so beautiful. So yes, for this beautiful life and for lots more, keep watching and keep learning.